This is a part 2 to me ranking all of the main bosses in Elden Ring. Now, as I said in part 1, this is just my experience, so this is going to be a very backward list, and your list is probably going to look very different. I do want to hear your opinions in the comments, though. Just try to keep it civil. At number 9, we have Radagon and the Elden Beast, aka Marika. I love the design of Marika and Radagon, but I really hate the Elden Beast design, and I think that's a general consensus of the community. Like, it's pretty, but it's anticlimactic as the final boss in the game. And I'm not going to complain about it being an easy fight, but it was kind of easy. It's not like the easiest boss, but I was expecting kind of harder of a challenge. Talking about a challenge, at number 8, we have Malekith. Not the hardest boss in the game, but definitely up there. I did really enjoy the fight. However, it got really annoying at the end when I would get him through the first phase, and then in the second phase, I would just be wiped out in a few seconds. But I did get there. This is probably the fastest boss in the game, and he spends very little amount of time on the ground. At number 7, we have Godrick. The only reason Godrick is this high on the list is because it was really satisfying to have an easier fight after being beaten and beaten and beaten by Margit. The boss fight is fine, and it is pretty easy, but as I said, it was a good thing. I feel conflicted putting Godfrey at number 6 this high, because surprisingly, out of all of the main bosses in the game, this is the only main boss that I was able to go in and beat him on my first try. For the first Elden Lord, he was kind of a pushover. But I do love his cutscenes, and I love his design, and it was pretty satisfying going in and beating him in one try after having just beaten Malekith like 30 minutes prior. So really, I'm not complaining. If you haven't figured it out, I don't play Souls games for the difficulty, I play it for the ambiance. Number 5, we have Malenia. And I can admit this, Malenia is the only boss that I did not feat when I was playing Elden Ring. I will go back and get it at some point, but I think we all know this is the hardest boss in the game, and from what I've heard, it's one of the hardest bosses in Souls games. I do love everything about her. I love her character design, and her lore is really interesting. And the fight is genuinely really fun. It's just wickedly hard. Okay, I'm running low on time. At number 5, we have Radahn. You could make the argument that his fight is kind of gimmicky, but unlike Rykard, it's gimmicky in a really good way. Being able to summon a bunch of different NPCs that you've come to know and love throughout the game to fight this guy is really cool. And I love big arenas, and this is the definition of big arenas. Number 3, we have Renala. She has one of the most interesting and creative boss fights in the game. Instead of just fighting a boss, it gives you an actual objective of like what you're supposed to do in the boss fight. Number 2, we have the Fire Giant. Really enjoyed fighting him, and it was the perfect level of difficulty for me. Number 1, we have Margot. Really liked him making a return and being able to fight him again, and I love the arena that it took place in.